I am a curious cat, and I'm always on the lookout for ways to have fun. Did you ever consider writing to be fun? Chinese writing is like picture writing. When it's done beautifully, it's considered an art as well. Then it's called calligraphy. It's like an abstract art. You don't have to understand Chinese to see its beauty. You can just look at it and enjoy. Some of the characters look like the word it means. Can you guess what this means? What about you? What do you think art is?
Art is like drawing and painting and coloring. If you make something really weird, it means abstract. First I would make a circle, as you start out with a circle of a person's head. Then I would make lines out coming from the circle. Then at the end of the lines I would make squares and so on. And then I would make these curves from the squares and going to the next square. And then I would make swirls going into the circle, and that would make an abstract painting.
Now that's a great story. I guess people everywhere have an artist's eye. Look what these artists are creating in Jamaica. They are making tie-dye shirts. Tie-dyeing is one of the oldest dyeing techniques in the world. And guess where its roots trace back to? China! People often use their clothes to express themselves. Tie and dye is a skill and an art. People all over the world like to express themselves through art. Whoa!
Oh! What about you? You know my family, and just about everything in my life begins with them. In China, parents, grandparents, and ancestors are very important.
My great-great-great-grandfather.
See what I mean? Traditionally, the Chinese were taught to obey and take good care of their parents. And so grandparents often lived with the entire family. I actually think my grandparents take good care of us. I love spending time with my yaya. He tells us stories. He makes us laugh. And he teaches us lessons he's learned in his long life. I love my grandparents. What about you? What do you do with your grandparents?
I sewed a panda at my grandma's house. And I sewed my grandma's skirt. And I do needlework. So my grandma sewed her doll. It was one of the prettiest dolls on her block. And she had to get hair. So, in the country. So, she was chasing the calf around trying to get the pretty curly stuff on the bottom. And she was running around with scissors chasing the calf. And she finally cut some and put it on her dolly's hair. She's not really that old, but not really that young. But when it comes to playing, she's really young.
Now that's a great story. Look what this boy is doing with his grandfather in Alaska. Ice fishing. In Alaska, when winter comes, the land freezes. Ice fishing is the only way to get fish. This boy's grandfather knows just where to go. Thanks to Grandpa's experience and know-how, they catch enough fish to last for many meals. Kids all over the world cherish time spent with their grandparents.
Oh! What about you? Yum! Some of my favorite times of the day are meal times. I love breakfast. You may think rice is for dinner, but in South China, people eat rice for breakfast too. It's called congee, a hot porridge made from rice. And congee never gets boring. It can be sweet or salty, and you can add different ingredients like meat or vegetables. When there's more time on the weekend, people in South China like to eat dim sum for breakfast. Carts come by and you can pick what you like. Dim sum means little dish. There's shrimp balls, eggplant, mushrooms, wontons, and all sorts of other yummy stuff. It's a great way to try a lot of different tastes without getting too full. What about you? What do you eat for breakfast?
I really like egg tortillas for breakfast because they taste good. Well, you put egg in them and cheese and you roll them up and you eat them. My cats are always on our chairs, begging for food. They like eggs. I'm opening up the thin layer of bread and putting in the cheese that's grilled, or kind of like grilled cheese, and I'm putting in the eggs and some milk, and I'm folding it up. And that's how I make egg tortillas.
Now that's a great story. Ooh, I'm kind of hungry. Let's see. What's cooking for breakfast in Mexico? Pan dulce. This means sweet bread. And pan dulce comes in many shapes and sizes. Making it isn't too hard. You break some eggs, add milk, add some flour, and then add yeast. That's what makes it rise. But it's not done yet. A little sugar on top makes it sweet, even if it does get a little messy. So there's all types of breakfast from around the world. I'm getting kind of hungry. Whoa! Oh!